Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
I got to ask you, how do you know Chuck Doyle?
Huh? Who?
Chuck Doyle. You're friends with him on LinkedIn.
Am
Doyle, Coffee Cup Chuck, First Cup KC. He sends out positivity blasts like daily. He's
I don't know. I'll be honest. LinkedIn is something I probably should focus more on, but I don't. I think I was trying to get one, and I just made one, and I never really go there for like connections. I'm just idle. I mean, sometimes I update it. Sometimes I need to update a reel or my new work for the last year or something. But I don't know. I don't know when I connected with him, if I actually know him or not. I'm still learning a lot about myself, even after like the Comic-Con was a learning about myself that I didn't know, and I'm still learning. I mean, I have anxiety, as you know from the documentary. I have anxiety.
Mhm.
I didn't know for a long time. I didn't know. If I knew that, I was like, man, that makes more sense in high school. I was like, oh yeah, I had anxiety about a lot of things. I didn't know what it was. I just thought it was, I don't know. I thought it was normal, I guess.
Well, you live within that normalcy for you. I mean, that's your world exactly. When did you what so was the Planet Comic Con, was that like the first time that you've had a chance to show a film, or have you shown films to audiences like that before?
Now, I never thought about doing a documentary before. I actually, when I was doing this, I was trying to, when I got into it, which 2016, it was 2016 or 2015 and then 2016, I got into it, tried it with a friend who's a vendor. I mainly got in because of my vendor friends who make the Captain America shields, if you saw them, and
Yeah.
Prop Customs, who's really, they're amazing work. And they kind of, I just like, they kind of they go around the country and like do it, and I just kind of follow with them. And then I I can't remember how I started Captain America, but that first year I went to New Orleans, and I Chris Evans, it was like Civil War panel was there. Chris Evans and Russo brothers and Jeremy Renner and some other people, or and Falcon or whatever, was there, and that was it was exciting. I like never been, I've never done this, seen celebrities and stuff, and Bruce Campbell and stuff, and I looking back at it, I kind of laugh because like that suit was, it was okay. I mean, at the time it was good, but like, I just remember everyone, like, I was just so surprised how many people came up to me and liked. I mean, like, you kind of feel like a little celebrity in a way. Uh, like so many people taking pictures of you. Like that first 2 years, it seemed like I got a lot of pictures. I think, but I don't know. So it was kind of fun in engaging with people that I don't, because normally I'm an introvert and I don't engage with people unless they engage with me. I will, it's less likely I'm gonna go up to you and
Hmm.
talk.
Yeah.
Now I'm more likely to, even without a camera and a suit. That's kind of like,
Mm.
it's those are kind of like easy ways to um engage with people when I have a camera or a suit on.
Hmm.
But I feel, comfortable in that. Sorry, that was it. So I also go off on my just like
No, you're fine.
tangents.
I'm sorry. You're doing great.
But
In fact, these are the questions I was going to ask, and so the very one of the first ones is everybody wants to know your origin story. Why the Captain America suit? Where did it come from? You said you're not sure why Captain
oh,
America.
okay. I think it's a mixture of things. So, in 2015, my grandfather passed away, and he meant a lot to me. And I it was during that time I got Captain. It was like October he passed away, and like I also tried Captain America suit on a Halloween the first time, and I don't know if there was a correlation there or not because I was like grieving, and then like also I wanted to do something that it was exciting. And I remember my friend Marshall, we're Avengers fans, um, told me I should be, Captain America, try it out. And I'm like, and then I don't know, I just did it, I just like took the plunge, and then also a big motivator, I think, was there was a girl I liked, and she was in cosplay world, and I think she liked Captain America, and that I think really pushed it. I was like, now I'm gonna do it and impress this girl and whatever. And I think that was kind of also my motivator to get into the cosplay community in the beginning, to like, I wanted to know more about this girl and get, know her world. And so that kind of pushed me in there. But then I found my own community, and I mean, that girl and I were just friends, but like, but now, but that was kind of like the push for me. I'm sorry, afterwards, my friend Casey told me, who built the shield, told me he's going to this convention, and for the first time he was doing that, and to come along. And then I came along, and then I mean, and then I'm, again, found my community just
So I so
bit by bit. But I mean, I didn't go into that because I mean, the document could be so much longer, and it could be a series, like I just wanted to, I didn't
well,
want to dedicate that much time, even though I dedicated too much more than I thought I would. But there's a reason for that too.
so the instigation for you to, or I'm sorry, your Instagram, if I checked it, it's kind of a bit of a timeline there. That's one of the fun things about Instagram. If anybody wanted to, they could go back and check yours. They could kind of see, this whole as you transform from your first outfits to the next ones, and as you become with your friends, and the more that you're getting out there, it's a pretty cool thing to see, to almost see that timeline for you. Uh, so uh, that's what started it. You want to walk us through? So you just started going to all these conventions with your friends, and your friends had the from the prop shop were the ones
Yeah.
that were dragging you around, because I saw you got to some pretty big conventions. And for a guy who claims to be introverted, I mean, that's a big crowd to suddenly get into. That's not just a handful of people in a room.
Yeah, so like after the girl thing, Casey pulled me to the event, along with him. They go, he goes to the conventions, and then St. Louis happened. Then Kaylin Hoffman Prop Customs came along and joined our little group, and also Dan Wise, if you know him, Wolverine. If you saw the Wolverine, he looks like Hugh
Mm-hmm.
Jackman, kind of. Anyways, we kind of are four uh, group, and actually they're in St. Louis right now. I had to work and stuff, but they really were trying to pull me along because it's been a long time since we've all been together as a group. Outside of that, I met Jim Bartlett. If you know Jim Bartlett,
Mm-hmm.
he's part of the people that run Comic Con or plan
Comic
or
Con. Mm-hmm.
part of
He's a great guy. Yeah,
the
he's a great guy.
um I met him, and he kind of pulls you into the promo world. And he's the glue. I think he's the guy that like connected me to all the people in the documentary. Well, besides Bethany, I knew her before, but he connects me, and that's why I kind of put him in there. He kind of he's I call him the support interview. Kind of connects dots. And um I did a science center, which I think I bring up in the documentary, about how I met Joe specifically. And that's kind of a fun story because he thought I was a dick the whole time. And I didn't know about this until 2 years later. We were at a promo, and this is like deep into like we were already doing the documentary at that point. And he just brings it up. I'm like, what? I was an asshole. I'm so I like oh like I did like just like I was so like at that time I was still introverted. I was introverted for a while. Even in the suit, even though people came up to me and I was engaged with them, it was another step to like engage with them. And that took me a while to figure out too. And I don't find myself better than like Dan Wise is really good but he's an extrovert. He's very good at talking to people. That's why I put him in there. He's quite funny when he integrate. I just see him all the time interact with people. I'm like, man, I wish I had a can.
Well,
And
I've seen you, man, and you take the time again and again for everybody who ever wants to take a photo with you. You take time to hang out with the kids, which that's the reason they came to see folks like you dressed in cosplay. And I know that we talk oftentimes, or we have talked a lot about, you being in the suit, but I see it again and again from the outside, how it draws just a guy in their street clothes or a person that you're up against. That suit on you draws something out of them as well. Do you feel that?
yeah, that's like as I learned, like that, I met people that like they're really emotional or into it, and like I helped them that day. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And then like before it was just having fun and stuff, but then noticing those things, how much it means to people, I was like, oh, this is really special, especially with kids. Like they really like multiple friends, especially Casey, come up to me all the time and tell me that I need to stay in character, and like not just thinking like, oh, I was like, why does this mean so much to this kid? Like it's just this character. And then like what was it? It was in St. Louis, or not St. Louis, it was some con. A kid came up to me, is like, are you the real no, it was New Orleans that year, that first year. It's like, are you the real Captain America? I'm like, well, no, like the Captain America's over there, and that over there in that booth over there. So Chris Evans over there. And then
He's gonna stay
after
alive.
he got super sad and he walked away. I'm like, and then Casey heard me. He walks over to me and he's like, Nick, someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes all the time. Yeah, Dan told me a good story that he ran across. People like, he was at a birthday party. He says it's so much better. It makes me laugh. All of his stories make me laugh. But he was talking about how he was at a birthday party and as Superman, and all these people, all these kids were like chanting, "Fly, fly, fly!" And he's like looking around. He's like, and he made up a great excuse of like, they were next to the airport, and they didn't want him to fly because he would mess up,
Yeah,
he can't fly in an airport, and that was his scapegoat, and it was like perfect.
clearance.
It's like, oh, it's like he just thought of that. It's like, all right, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing. I'll try to jump because I was in there for how many years? Got 16 years. Met Joe, all these people. The next year is when we started doing the documentary.
So was the documentary you did for Planet Comic Con, was that your first? How many projects had you done before that?
Um,
Because your filmmaking career, when
that
did
was
you start?
that
When
was
did you
the
start making films?
when I was a kid. Actually, it's strange. Well, I wanted to be in acting world for a long time. Then movies made me want to make the thing, and I did a bunch of editing when I was younger. Um, I just liked editing, and then wanted to go to film school, and came to Kansas City for that. And I started my like first like feature as a kid, or kind of like as a 19-year-old. I wanted to do a mafia film. Sounds pretty normal. Everyone makes a mafia film, I guess, right?
Heck yeah,
And
right.
I had a lot of friends. I had a second family, I call them, the Milanis, and they're uh, I grew up, half, part of my family's Italian, and then my best friend, his family was just my second family, all Italian. So I kind of, spawned there. But did a fun little feature that took 2 years to make as a 19 to, or maybe I don't know how long it took. I think we finished it when I was in college, halfway through college. And looking back at it, it's silly. It's ridiculous, as you expect from like kids. But there was something there, for someone who didn't know anything about film besides watching them. It was pretty good. And then I started working on a short film to get like a an ambitious short film that I don't know why I thought about doing. It was about Black Friday. It was about the negatives of Black Friday, really. And it was I wanted to see like the perspective of a 9-year-old in a crazy Black Friday, like a war zone away. That was difficult to do. Did it, but it didn't quite turn out. It was fine. For like doing on no budget, it was pretty good. But I would have done it differently if I had gone back. But and then the documentary came around, and okay, so I tried to do that narrative. My comedian friend wrote a pilot, a kind of a loose pilot, and though he didn't know much about that world, that was difficult because like I knew about the world, but I didn't want to write it. I besides like give notes and kind of give an idea, and it's kind of difficult to write. And my cinematographer friend told me just to make it into a documentary, which I think I mentioned in the documentary itself. I think I don't know. I did have someone done so many versions of it. I don't even know what's in that documentary right now,
You're
and
not
I
sure
don't
what's
care.
in the
And
end
I
version.
and I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I don't. It was my first documentary, and I don't really care for it to be perfect, and it's not perfect at all. But and it's more like so we started, and then our first interview was Julian 2017, and my next interview I tried for 6 months on to get, because I think his story, and I still think his story would be fantastic. He's like the best uh Captain Jack Sparrow I've ever seen in my life. He's Aaron Robbie or Rabe. I don't know how to say his last name. Ray. I always call him Robbie. Sounds better. Aaron Robbie. When I met him, he was big at these cons and as a cosplay guest, and his freaking fantastic cosplay and Captain Jack Sparrow. And the best thing is he would never drop character ever. And then when he was outside of that character, he was Johnny Depp, and it was amazing. I really wanted to touch on like the method acting of cosplay in a way, and I really wanted to touch on that. And then um, the next year happened, 2018. My cinematographer told me that I should be in it because I didn't come into it for a while. I was like, I should be in it because he asked me why I cosplayed, and I told him, and well, I didn't really think about it much until he asked me why, and I was like, oh yeah, I guess it does change me. People realized it changed me before I noticed. It changed me, so I just started talking more. It seemed like, and I was more comfortable talking. Um, but and then we did my interview, which I liked nature, and that's one of the things that calmed me down, and that's why I was out in nature, or tried to like. That's kind of the weird artsy part of the documentary. Kind of like I just was doing something artsy there for whatever reason, just because like I was trying to incorporate more things of why without saying it that makes me relaxed, and nature makes me relax, and that's why it's in there. And we were sitting I brought a chair, and we were sitting in a river bed, like we were sitting around like there was a snake in the background at one point. I was like, oh gosh, like a little snake rolling in the background of the water snake. Or
Shooting on location is just a story
but
all by itself.
I had troubles with the interview, and I hated in cutting myself. I had troubles cutting myself. I feel like I probably should have had someone else edit either that portion of it or edit the documentary, because I had problems with editing I removed I did a lot of iterations and got feedback from people, but there was a lot of times where I wasn't in it a lot. I just had my story, and then I just kind of like left. Those two I call them bookends of like outside of getting like the documentary filmmaker side of things was added towards wasn't in there in the beginning. It wasn't in there for the first cut. Those were not in there. It was just that portion of me talking about anxiety, and that it, because I didn't really want to be in it. I didn't mind me being in the background, or being in the B-roll or whatever. But did that, and then all the other ones came in. Joe came in because Joe had that really endearing story about his kids. That was his whole thing. It was like him and his family would go. Of course, now it's less of the family. Heck, I don't see him anymore. But I mean, he's busy with his actual family, and like not at cosplay, but like sometimes I see him. And then the twins, pros, uh, um, blanking, Cameron, Tiffany Dixon. They were really great. I felt like they came in as a support, they were supporting uh, certain connections, connecting to plays, people, and adding more context, I guess. I was originally putting them in there. I wish I did more with them. At the time, I think towards the end I tried to do more, like put more of their stories in, because I enjoy everyone's stories. I don't even know if there was one version where I put in their story. I can't remember if I cut it or not, because it didn't really add to anything, but I enjoyed. But there was a lot of stories that like I cut that I enjoyed, that I sometimes I throw out on Instagram because I enjoyed it, and there are fun stories, but they just didn't add to the documentary. But I mean,
That seems like one of the hardest parts of, because I'm so self-critical to my own work anyway. And to self-editorialize is one of the, is unless I guess I developed mechanics for myself to make me push through that process. And because you talked a little bit about that struggle to do it for yourself, there's you make decisions when you're doing it for somebody else. How was it hard? It was difficult for you to use those same decision-making methods when you were editing for yourself. How did you get through that?
that was a therapy in itself, I think. In trying to, so I guess I'm critical of myself, and someone asked me, and this makes me sad to think about it. A friend of mine who's been to a therapist, and she's like, you should write down all the things you like about yourself. And I haven't done that yet. I don't think I think I can do that. I'm more for, I know I probably should overcome this some point in life, but at the moment, since I'm single, and yeah, I don't really have a family of my own yet, and I'm not even really worried about that. I'm focused on my art, and I feel like that's my purpose in life, and I just want to focus on getting those out, and I don't really care about really myself. I just care about what I'm putting out. I know that's probably not a good thing in the future, but I
Pretty self-destructive if you hold on to
I
it. Yeah.
prefer like giving things, and I like giving gifts to friends, even though they like, I don't know, I just think of things, I like give gifts. I really enjoy that. And doing things for people, and then getting my ideas out there, because I think they're important in some way. You have an idea and you think, but of course, I go back and forth. I have to push myself through stuff. So like, I think the reason why the documentary took so long, besides just filming it and not like doing it continuously, is like I was learning about the documentary. Well, in the beginning, I'm sorry, I didn't say this. It was supposed to be a short documentary, and then it kind of just grew into a feature when I like learned about like what I was trying to say, and the whole thing was we were just trying to tell like, why are these people cosplaying? And of course you could say that in 5 minutes from everyone
Right.
saying, oh, why do you cosplay, and like that, like that. But I was trying to tell the story. I was trying to figure out why it was so interesting, or like what I liked about it, why I liked all these people, and what I was trying to touch on a bigger story that I was still learning about. And that's why I think it took so long. It's just trying to I was trying to learn through the whole thing. I'm still learning. I could probably recut the whole documentary in a different direction, which I'm not going to do because I'm done with it.
It
But
seemed
well,
almost
not
like
not a completely
like the
different
documentary
direction.
version of your own autobiography of you kind of going through some of this. And I know that, I don't know what you may have filmed of yourself otherwise, that we may not have a bunch of the back insight, but we got to see you and your own struggle through this. I mean, that was quite a bit for you to put out there. How did you just? And you said some of your friends that you know kind of instigated you. How did you finally come about to make it so that you were okay with putting yourself into your own work?
I don't know. I think I'm still learning. I'm still learning. Uh, I don't know. Getting out there and seeing people's responses, which is very scary. And when if they like, I'm like, oh well, maybe I was right, or in my head with certain things, certain audiences and whatever. Like, okay, well, the doc, I didn't want to like focus on me because I don't see the documentary about me. It's about a community.
Mhm.
First and foremost, is about a bunch of people, and I wish I could have put more people in it, but you know, don't want to make a series. I wanted to be done, and then also mention people like are brought up like, why didn't you like? There's so many different cosplays around the United States, around the world. Like, I don't want to put that much dedication to it, but like also, the only problem with like, and I'm that's a story too. Someone else can do it.
Mhm.
Um, about meeting your fam elsewhere, but like I wanted to keep it local because like we have such a like tight group here that like I could talk about people that like meet each other at other cons and stuff like that, but like what's special about this one is like the after the con, the that community still grows. Like you're still in that community doing promo events with Jim and like helping with charity work and then promoting con and like doing and then things happening like connections going to Children's Mercy, which I did do, but I didn't do like not like Julian did in that interview or Dan's done. I haven't done it like that before where I've met like a kid with cancer. I've met other kids with other disabilities or like struggle, you know, something that is like awful to see a kid like that. But like I haven't met any kids with cancer and I don't, but
Well, I want to pause you
but
right there. I want to thank you for that because I'm going to tell you what to bring what you have to bring that inclusivity to everybody. I got to commend and thank you for that. That is one of my greatest draws to the cosplay community again and again is their self recognition of their own attributes and failures and foibles, and they embrace and include everyone because they recognize that we all have these same struggles and they are so willing and committed. I mean, they go out with intention and purpose to put themselves in these situations that are difficult for so many people to deal with. But as our conversation has started to talk about a little bit, I think that costumery, that the cosplay, the ability for even just a moment to make yourself take on the characteristics and the attributes and the strength of the person you're trying to personify, give you this emboldenment to help you stand strong in those difficult positions. And I mean, I am just flabbergasted again and again, you know, never surprised, but constantly amazed to see these folks, put you included, putting yourselves into these situations that other people spend so much energy and time trying to avoid.
yeah, and it's unique. I like hearing people's stories. I was like, whoa, like there's so many stories even better than the ones we have. I mean, okay, that sounds bad, but like, no, everyone has their own like stories and struggles. Like Bethany's was the darkest of ours, you know. She had like a lot of strain, and of course we went through it quickly. She like had, I think she struggled when she was talking about the depression spiraling down. I don't think she got into cosplay, went back to cosplay for a year or so or more. You know, like just yeah. So I didn't know her at that time. She was telling me about it, but everyone's kind of dealt with mental health. So we like I go with anxiety, she goes with depression. I mean, who hasn't? I mean, I've experienced depression, but not like on that level. And like we're just I mean, I dabble into the mental health because it's, you know, so it seems like most people in cosplay do have something, and that is interesting that there's a connection there. Like, but the but anyways, it's about, I just want to get this out. Like, so it's about identity first. First, like we are trying to figure ourselves out in these cosplays, Julian and me and Bethany and Joe and these people. And and then the real, but then we find out it's like we find ourselves, I mean, we find ourselves in the cosplay, but what really helps us get there is the community. Without the community, we wouldn't have, you know. So I would say the themes I go with are, self-identity and community. Community is like the biggest part, not just self-identity. I don't want it to be just about yourself, because it's not. It's about a community, and that's why I wanted to try to focus on everyone in the, like, it's not really about me. It's about just everyone in the documentary. Um, that's why I was worried about it. I didn't want people to think that, like, oh, I'm just taking the limelight here. And even though, like, I was kind of pushed into it by my filmmaker friends. Okay, I'll say this. Evan, he pushed me into it, and then, like, I did a first cut, and then I thought it was gonna be done, and I even showed it. Did like during 2020, had 10 people in a theater of just the main people, because we couldn't do
Mhm.
anything else, because pandemics, also slowed us down, but also gave me time to, like, rethink the whole documentary, because it
Mhm.
was uh I got my filmmaker friends feedback from it, and some people I don't even know personally. I've just asked for advice sometimes, and they saw it and they really liked what I did. They saw potential. Not saying, but they were trying to get me to take it a step further,
Mhm.
kind of cut it, which I was just sick of it at that time. But, like, then I got a spark of creative, you know, thoughts of, like, how to do it.
Yeah.
And they said, like, they wanted something to connect it, because at the time it didn't have anything connecting. It was just a bunch of stories. It's like, and you should be that connection. You should be the person that connects it. So I put
Yes.
these bookends, basically what I call bookends, in there. I'm not sure if I connected or not. I guess if I did it again, I would be probably more in, I would probably come back. You probably tell that it wasn't even done that way. It was kind of put in at the end.
Mhm.
Um, where I, like, an intro, I talk about it. And then at the end, I kind of go back into it, but I'm in costume sitting there talking about it a little bit. And that helps with a through line. I don't know if it's a loose through line or not, but, like, um, the they pushed me to, like, put more of me into it, I guess, but
Oh,
from the
yeah.
filmmaker's perspective, not from the other way. But I was, like, really worried. I'm like, I hope people don't think that I'm just
Oh,
the
and
the
I gotta
the,
give you,
the
I gotta give you my opinion. I gotta tell you here because I gotta tell you here. I gotta interrupt you. It was amazing. It was. I think that had you not put yourself in there, it needed to be somebody. And since you were the catalyst for a lot of this, whether it was one side or the other of that camera, you were absolutely the appropriate target and the appropriate subject for us to view all this through. It was your voice that you were trying to express for other people, I think. And for you to have made an appearance to be the face and the voice of that, I think was absolutely appropriate. You're, I'm certain, because it's your profession, are going to critique your film to the end. But I will tell you, as somebody who sat in the audience, who's somebody who felt the feeling in that room when every one of those people, from beginning to end, connected to what you had to say.
oh, you were in the audience. Yes, yes. Okay. Oh gosh, that was an awful interview. Anyways, I even prepped for
We've
that.
got to get to that in a
I
second
will.
too.
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, okay. Hold on. So um I spent 6 months re-editing. I pulled 15 minutes out of the cut, and then somehow I put 15 minutes in, or put more into it. I don't know how I did that. I removed parts that, like, people, or my filmmaker friends, mentors. I don't say mentors. They're older. They know more. Kind of. They have different perspectives. I don't say they're fully, like, one of them was my old instructors. I'm like, I appreciate all of her takes, even though she isn't a very old, not perspective on it, but like I still appreciate her a lot. And it was so I spent 6 months re-editing, and I kind of did some voiceovers to fix some things. Like there were some parts like I wanted to go into that I didn't go into. I was like, oh, maybe it's time where like I can go into parts that I didn't really elaborate on, or like I just like
Mhm.
briefly talked over that I think is kind of like people are like, oh, I was interested in that, but then we just kind of went on. And then I also pulled a part of mine out that like one of my filmmaker people that came out was like, this seems too much self or like this,
Aggrandizing.
yeah, about yourself a little bit here. I was like, okay, I'll remove it. It wasn't me talking about myself because I can't talk about myself. That's why I have Joe talking about me. Joe can talk about me. I have troubles talking about myself, but someone else can talk about me.
Hmm.
That's why Joe was there. So I removed a piece, which is fine. It was kind of a fun story, but like it didn't really matter. And then I the whole charity part, I think the part where, okay, so the walking and rolling wheels, that whole part
Hmm.
was added in right before was before I did the, not the final cut, but the first cut where people looked at it and then they changed it. Well, I decided to do like a part where it's all about the charity side of it, a
Hmm.
little elaborate a little bit more, and that's what kind of where walking and rolling is at in the I mean in the documentary, but also in like how I met them, like that their whole part, which was a fascinating story and I really liked it. The
What an amazing guy. I mean,
uh that's why they're not in the whole thing. It's just like they're kind of like right there towards in that third act, I guess, of it.
mhm.
um I'm not so familiar with how documentaries are like I could only think in a narrative way, so I thought of an axe. Even though it's kind of it's primarily positive. It's a primary positive thing and heartwarming, which I like. Even though
Mhm.
mental health is the only thing where it kind of is like it goes up and then it kind of goes down with Bethany's story, like of falling out, and then it kind of goes back up again. So it doesn't go too deep into like um uh you know stuff. I didn't want it to be so like dark or sad or something like that, because you could go in that direction if you
You
wanted to,
can,
but
you could, yep.
I but
That's hard. Then you got to work really hard to bring your audience back out of that if you want to leave on a high note.
yeah, like, and then I had a well, Dan didn't even he wanted to keep it light the whole time. He didn't even want to see any of the dark stuff. So I mean it's all and all fun stuff. I wish I added more fun stuff like that. It was hard to like when we mic'd Dan and he didn't like, it was very, very difficult to, like he didn't want to put, he was at Comic-Con, he almost didn't really want to do it, like yeah, understandable. He just put the mic on the outside. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever, we'll just leave it there. And he got some amazing interactions with kids and things that we walked around. Didn't do that for many people. The new areas were like expanded on the charity area,
Mhm.
removed some parts that stories that didn't really matter, and some filler. I've really had some filler in there and I removed. Um, uh, and then
Well,
Reese.
I think that showed con life really well. I think what you put in there, because you got to have segues, you got to have some moments in between the for transitions. And
Oh,
I thought what you had was good footage. I thought it was great.
then the home section. I call it the home section, where it's like kind of post-pandemic ish. Well, it wasn't quite post-pandemic, but at the time we thought it was post-pandemic. Where it was kind of like coming back together, and that was real. That was we were some of us, we hadn't seen each other in a long time, so some of that was real when we kind of like, I had that at Nebraska Furniture. That was like a promo event, by the way. It was just like a promo event that and that was kind of nice to throw that in there. I didn't really want to touch too much about the pandemic, because we're sick of it. But I
Mhm.
touched on it just briefly at the end, towards the end, and then, um, uh, anyways, it was done, and then we showed it last year fully at Planets. It was actually shown It did well at the I did another like preview at the contest, and I
Mhm.
heard it went well, but like apparently like the next day is a terrible day. Like most of those people like probably didn't come back, and then like we were slotted at 3 o'clock, like where like people are trying to do their last minute things. So I think we only had like 60 people, which is fine.
Oh, ah,
But I was hoping for more. It just sound just because Julian was like, it sounded like there were so many people. They were just talking about going, and then no one really went. So like,
oh,
damn it. But it was nice. It was interesting. It was in the main room. It was cool seeing it in the main room. Um, and then uh, did a little Q&A there. That one went much better. I don't know why. Not because of, I don't think it was because of the lack of people. It just, I think the questions were better. Like, I
I
mean,
gotta,
well,
we gotta get to the interview. We gotta
oh
get to the
yeah,
interview
okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
because I gotta ask you. Well, we gotta talk about it. First thing I want to ask you about the interview is so well, before the interview, the opportunity to put it in front of the Planet Comic Con. Let's go back over that again. How did you get the chance to put it in front of everybody at the contest, and how'd that come about to be? Was that something your intention from the beginning? Did you work toward that, or was that just
No, it's just someone asked. I think the twins asked me. Um, they were running that. Jim as well. I mean, Jim, I'm like, ask Jim. He probably, no, I think I asked Jim about it if he could do it. And then he organized it, you know. I know Jim, he's in the documentary. Yeah, because it's obviously it's all, I mean, it's all at primarily Planet Comic Con. So obviously
Mhm.
they'd be interested in that. And helping me promote it. Of course, that year, I didn't think about it. I was like, I probably should have told them somewhere to follow in case they didn't watch it, which I didn't. And I was like, okay, well, this year I couldn't do like a screening of it, but like I was like, well, maybe I could put it up on something. I was like, well, maybe I should make some money out of it since I made nothing.
Yeah, right. So
But well, I sent it to like, hold on, a few things. Okay, so I try to send it to documentaries or festivals. I
mhm.
send it to festivals. Uh, the first version of it, not the second version that you saw, went to Kansas City Comic Con
Mhm.
because I was still working on the second cut while that went to, because I didn't realize there was going to be a second cut and I had to put it in before. And so that went, the first cut went there. It didn't win anything. It's okay. Um, and then I sent to festivals, other festivals, and most of them didn't get in. That's unfortunate. The cut you saw, and I got some feedback from someone, and I was like, I wish I got that feedback before I sent it in. But
Do you have
uh,
to pay to have your
oh yeah,
uh,
you have to send, yeah, each
you
thing,
have to pay to submit even, huh?
yeah, you have to
Wow.
pay, yeah, each like those festivals you have to pay to submit. And if you
Shoo.
don't get in, you just spent that money. It's gone. Um,
Wow.
which is kind of crap. But like at least you should get something, I think, for that. I mean, something, for your money's worth. But
Hmm.
and it wasn't just like big ones, it was just some smaller ones and stuff.
Do they give you a critique or anything? Did you get
You
anything
can
for your
you
money? Did they tell you why
there
they didn't
was
want?
two ones that you can get critique from. And one of my I sent to Tallgrass because I heard that was like I should send it there.
Uh-huh.
And by one of my mentors, and I didn't get in, but which I really thought I could get in. I don't know why, but they sent a critique back, and I've learned that like there are going to be reviewers or critiques that don't like your film, and then ones that like it. There's different. This person didn't care for it as much. They thought I was, and it was all my worries of like me putting myself in there. This person really touched on. He was like, or she, I don't know who it was. It's like the person, it's like it was I can't even remember all of it. I just remember them saying like it looked like the director was like putting a spotlight on himself the whole time. I'm like, wow, what a dick. The whole reason why I didn't want to put myself
You're telling all your friends, this is why I didn't want to be in the damn movie.
yeah, I was like, I don't want people to think it's like this. But gosh, I'm not even in it there that much. Jeez. I don't think so. I like that little story with the the kid and me, which was so um like touching. Like that kid with the little story, which was kind of like a comic book animation, which I
Mhm.
also showed at the little preview. Um, that came in much later. That wasn't in there, and then it was in there for the first cut, but I didn't really touch into why that was important. And one of the questions was like, they didn't know why, like, or one of the filmmaker friends like, why is this in here? I was like, it's a sweet story, but like, why does it matter to you? And I forgot to say that, and then I put revoiced over and why I put in why that was important for like the next step. They thought it was, my story was done,
Mhm.
but it wasn't, because like with that story, and I mentioned there's like, when I was with Joe and stuff, I was always with friends and stuff, and that helped me a lot. I was never by myself, and then
Mhm.
this one was by myself, and I had to overcome a whole new step because I was like, I don't know if I could do this without like someone to help me get into it. So that was kind of like the first step, where not the I'm yeah, like one time where like this kid was like looking forward to seeing me, and like I was unsure about going, and then like I was like, I'm not gonna go. I was like, I'm not gonna do it. And then they post that freaking video, and I'm like, oh, they're really looking forward to seeing me. I was like, I guess I'll go. And then I went, and it was I mean, the event, I can't remember what the condition was. His brother was the one that like was excited to see me, but his other brother was a Captain America fan who was disabled, who I also saw as well. I put him in, both of them in there, and I checked to see if it was okay with or had, like, after a year or so, I had to find that person. It was hard to find her, the mother, to reach out. I'm like, hey, can I use that story in this documentary? And she's like, yeah. Gosh, I should probably send that to
Well,
her,
I want
actually.
to I want to
Um,
interrupt there for a moment. That, I mean, that's such a teaching moment for everybody, for all of us. Is that, if you put yourself out there and you force yourself to do it, then you'll make yourself do it. Getting over that first step, no matter what it is always the hardest one for all of us. And that is a mechanic that all of us can use again and again. Is if you run your mouth a little bit, or if you tell a friend, or if you make a bet, anything that you can do to make yourself that instigates you to go ahead and get out there and finish up with it. So,
yeah,
connecting with
the kids
community.
can, yeah, the kid kind of got me to go. That kid could, like, even now I'm like kind of like, I don't cosplay as much because as the suits have got better and better, they got hotter and hotter, and they wiped me out. Like, I was at San Diego Comic Con one year, and I walked around all the time in the freaking, and I had like a stealth suit on. And at that one, I actually tried putting like a muscle suit in, and it was and it looked good on the outside, but it was built for like 20-degree weather, and I was like 80, upper 80s, and I was like, I I have a problem of like dehydrating myself, because like when you're in Comic Con, you don't have time to, and you have that energy of like, well, the Comic Con energy of like moving around and stuff, and then you like try to get, like, I'm not gonna spend $5 on water, or like there's huge lines for food. I'm like, I'll eat later, and
I'm fine.
then
I'm good.
yeah, so like I like burn myself out really quick, and so it just kind of. But if a kid wants me to show up, I'm like, I guess I'll go put the suit on. But
And
yeah,
he
like,
he really called you out, because what he put up that video with the
yeah,
fist in his hands. What did he say? He said,
yeah.
uh,
Oh, I can't
uh,
remember.
"I'm ready. Bring it on." Isn't that what he said?
Yeah,
He's
bring
like,
it on. It's like,
"On, Captain," or something.
yeah, you want to be Thanos, which is a interesting one to be. But it was sweet, and I hung out with him and there, and kind of, we did a bunch of like hung out. We didn't talk about it. We went around and hung out the whole time, but like, that's nice. It's kind of like the positives of cosplay. I didn't really get into many festivals. Like, got that feedback, and even though that was a negative, that was one person's perspective. Um, they did send me. I mean, like, even though they did give me something from that, I don't know if it was that person, but like, they saw potential, even though they didn't fit into their criteria,
Mhm.
which I found out that a lot of documentary festivals have a specific criteria that this Comic Con thing doesn't fall, this pop culture or like thing doesn't fall into. I found that out. Actually, I talked to someone about it, and they're like, "Yeah, your documentary doesn't really fall into like most documentary what they're looking for. They're
Mm.
looking for something, a big cause, environmental, or like, something that's, or political, or something that this doesn't touch. This is more heartwarming, touching on a very specific crowd that I'm sure there's nerds in the festival world, but not. It's not really. I'm focused. The audience is primarily cosplayers, but
Mhm.
I am also, if like other people that don't know about cosplay are interested, could get some value of that, or people
Right.
that have no interest in going but are curious about it, we've are also, they can get something from it too. But they sent me to Project Nerd, which is like a website that's like upcoming, and like they're working on their streaming service, and they wanted the documentary in that, and whenever that happens, that'll be there.
Mhm.
um, which just seems like the right, audience, obviously. But there was so I got something out of the tall grass, even though there was that negative comment. And then there was another one that didn't get in, but it was like the Big Apple Comic Con, not Comic Con, sorry, Big Apple Film Festival.
Mhm.
Uh, they kind of told me what I enjoyed their response, because they did like some most festivals like throw a message out. It's like, unfortunately, you couldn't get blah 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 for whatever reason. Can you make it? And like, but theirs seemed like it was um like they send it out and they're like, you didn't get in, but in a nutshell, but you made it to the very final, which was nice to know. I was like, oh, I made it to the final before the cutoff.
Right.
But and then they said that like they said this has potential, or like they mentioned that it has potential for a specific audience. I was like, well, I'm happy that someone's they gave me a little bit more than like, even though I didn't get it, I really appreciated that. So I was like, okay, so I just need to
Mhm.
find the right audience. Obviously the audience is cosplayers,
Mhm.
or nerds and stuff. And then I was like, well, then I was like, God, maybe Netflix would be interesting. And then I had some friends that are connecting to Netflix, and of course, apparently they're not accepting like submissions right now, unless I know someone, and apparently they're looking for something very specific as well that is not the nerd heartwarming, like if I can convince like someone in Netflix, or like, or someone, the value of it, because I know it has value. Another project that was successful, more successful than the documentary, and one of my friends was like, "This is the best thing you've ever done." I'm like, "Thanks." I mean, not a bad thing, but like, so I did a Halo project that went well. I'm a big fan of Halo, and over the years and growing up with it and all that jazz, and seeing it like in its downfall, like most games, have their downfalls and coming up. It's a story in a way. It's like the story of like Xbox, and in the Xbox One era, kind of like Xbox One, Xbox, or not Xbox One, Xbox One era, kind of, there were like 360 and all that shit going up at their height and then coming down. It's a story. And then like
Mhm.
Xbox One almost died and was almost got rid of. They had this whole documentary about it, uh, getting rid of it, until Phil Spencer. What I'm telling you more than you need. But anyways, came in and revitalized it and stuff. And the same thing with Halo. Kind of Halo was passed on, and like, and five didn't do well, and it was kind of dying. It was kind of dying, and my friends were kind of going away from it and stuff. And Halo Infinite, the new one, was like Xbox message, and Halo's messages was kind of similar, connected, where like we're bringing it back to what made Xbox and Halo so great, and like and bring it and kind of revitalizing, or like anyways. And so I wanted to do something, and that I wanted to do something Halo,
Mhm.
like a commercial, a fan commercial. So in 2020, I sat down with a friend, and 2020 in March, before the pandemic happened, right before the pandemic happened, we talked about this project that I wanted to write and stuff. And he was like, yeah, let's do that for Halo Infinite, which is supposed to be coming out in 2020. Anyways, pandemic hit, screwed everything up. And then Halo was pushed back, which thank God. Just lots of struggle with, and then like it came out in 2021, and which was the year of their 20th anniversary, which worked well because what I wrote was kind of 20th anniversary-esque anyways, and an Xbox and whatever. Anyways, long story short, we finally got it out. We finally shot it, which went through so many different iterations, but I still had the same message at the end, but which I felt was important. But like I was kind of following like everything Halo, like it kept getting pushed back or something getting canceled or shit like that. And
Mhm.
I'm like, dang it. And it was like bringing me down because I was trying to keep the hype up, and it wasn't my fault. I mean, of like I can't control what's going on over it, the making of it. Anyways, so I was like, well, we're just gonna post this, we're just gonna get it done and then put it out. And so we had one day, only one day to get it done, and we couldn't do any other day because this I wanted the cinematographer to do it, this specific cinematographer, and he could only do it this one day in November, and any other day it wasn't going to happen. So we did it, and I cut it in like a week, and then we posted it out like a week earlier than we thought. Like we were going to do it on the day, but we did it like a week before. And I was in a meeting with a meeting at the time, and my friend who he's like, do you want me to post it out? Because I'm garbage at it, because I have anxiety about posting it out. And okay, another like I have Twitter, but I had never I got in 2017, never used it. Never used it once. And he's like, we'll put it on your Twitter. Um uh we'll put it on your Twitter and you'll put it other places, but it blew up on Twitter. And it blew up on Twitter, and he was freaking out. He was trying to call me. He was trying to text me. And he's like, Nick, it's blowing up. It's blowing up. Like Seamus, he tagged Seamus Blackley, who was the original creator of the original Xbox. He made the original Xbox, and he saw it and he retweeted it, and then it blew up, and then everyone started to retweet it, and uh, it went crazy. It went viral, and it was my first viral experience, and it felt good. Just people recognizing something, and like that you're not crazy, basically you're not crazy, and like people really resonated with it in so many different ways. Like there were so many people commented, and so many stories I heard, like different, like it meant something to me in a different way than it meant to them. Like it was just so fascinating seeing people's stories. And then like a bunch of people from 343 makers of Halo reached out, like commented on it directly. And like the director of Halo, and who has been in Bungie and like has been part of it a whole for like a long time, the director of it like reached out. And then there was a bunch of people, and then Aaron Greenberger is marketing director of, I think he's a marketing director of Xbox, and like Xbox shared it, and like Halo shared it, and so it accumulated 500,000 views, and in a short amount of time. It stopped, but like it accumulated that much. I'm like, whoa, that was really impressive. And then it got like 14,000 likes and like 4,000 shares, and 500 comments. And I went through each comment and commented on it. Eventually I went through each one, but like, and majority of them were positive. Of course I found some negatives, and then we put like the 4K version on YouTube, and of course we got some views there, like 38,000, but like it was I'm sorry, I'm talking about the Halo one, but like
Oh
it
no,
was
you're fine.
it was just like it just helped me believe in myself a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, so this has like, okay, so maybe I should believe in more of my work now, since this went well. And then like I've never dealt with this. There was so many people in like my private messages that like were like congratulating me and like telling me like, you need to take this and make a YouTube channel of it. I'm like, I didn't know I wanted to tell them like, this is just a one-off, man. This is I'm like, what would I make? Just a bunch of Halo videos? And like that, it takes time and money. I made I made that video for like $2,000. And so like the anyways, like there was another person like, hey, you're like, I don't know why I fell for this. But if I had my friend Richard, he would have been like, no, talk to this guy. He's kind of like my PR guy. He's like, he's like, don't talk to this person. Only talk to this person. Blah blah blah. He was kind of directing me a little
Ignore the
bit.
hate. Yes.
Yeah, he's like, but he hadn't talked to me at the time. But I mentioned this guy. I was like, hey, I was like, he's like, can I have a really big following of Halo? It's like, could I put this on my thing? I'm like, I was like, I'm not gonna give you the video. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna give you the video, like, but you can use the link. You can link it.
Mhm.
Was fine. I found out later he pirated the video. He grabbed it. He like took it and he was on Facebook and he did have a crap load of followers, like 500,000. But we like kind of Richard's like I was like, he's like, he's stealing your views. He's like 100,000 views. I was like, I'm not sure if they're real though, but I mean, like, but he did take it. He did credit me though. I was like, he did credit me though, and did
Mhm.
link it. There is that. It would have been worse if he didn't credit me. And then there was dealing with that. I've never experienced that. And then like a week later, like oh yeah, okay, let me tell you. Okay, so 343 reached out privately and wanted to use the video,
Mhm.
and so they took the video, and well, it's fine because they own all the rights to that. And they took the video and uh put it on, they broadcasted it on their big like championship esports event, which was about to happen in a couple weeks there, which was pretty cool. I would have been cool to be there. They were just in Kansas City. It would have been great if they were in Kansas City. I could have been actually there to see it on
On the screen.
the screen, but apparently it went really well. But it was like next to like actual their like main like commercials, their big commercials, So it was next to them. The only thing is like I had to like there was a copyright issue with Marty O'Donnell's music, even
Mm.
though the one we used was a cover of it, which was really beautiful. I had to use music from 343's library, which was unique, but I had to find music that was the same. Was very difficult, but like because like nothing was working. But I found one that was almost identical that I used. I was like, oh jeez, thank God. And somehow I made it work. And I had to it's difficult because it's like the music was very connected to that piece, and to find one
And you
that
suddenly had to
just
change
like
it.
it. Yeah.
Like how much music did you have to pour through to figure that out?
Oh, their whole library. I went through like Halo 5's music, which I didn't really care for. And then they had, luckily, like I went into like their Halo Legends, like kind of like animated show.
Mhm.
Had a song like, and I pulled it from there. And then I used one of their Infinite songs, which was really nice. I was able to use one of their Halo Infinite like main music songs, which I enjoyed being able to have use of, be able to
The,
use their
the
their
actual
catalog,
IP.
their IP catalog. So that's pretty cool. I enjoyed that, even though it was kind of stressful. But we got it and then did that, and um, that was nice. And then I just recently showed Steve Downs the video, like at Comic-Con. He hadn't seen it, and then he posted it, so it got a little extra boost, a 20,000 view boost. But like, I don't care. It was just nice that he enjoyed it and like that. I mean, that's kind of done. I think I don't know where it landed, 538,000. It doesn't matter. But uh, I was like, well, maybe we should make another one, which we're kind of talking about right now, another Halo thing. But like, it's different though. That story is done. I can't tell that story anymore. It's I'll send it to you. It's like, it's a very specific story to like people that grew up with Halo, like it's 20 years of that. And I started, like, I played Halo when I was 13. So like in the beginning, that was kind of like me. Like that beginning, the very opening, it was kind of like me basically.
Mhm.
And then it kind of goes into a different story. But like there's all that, and like I just learned a lot from that. And then holy, there's
Let me bring us back around. I want to close. Back to your and the reason I want to close on this, because this is where I was introduced to you, was this moment at Planet Comic Con where I saw you on stage for the first time. And I've seen you around at some other conventions, I'm pretty sure, but you and I had never talked. But this was really the moment where I was first introduced to you, is this moment where you were standing on stage. And I want to talk a little bit about your interview, because you did great through it all. But
no.
I want to talk about the step up to it. Putting on the suit, was that a decision to wear the suit when you came out onto the stage? Did it help you wearing the suit, or would it have been, was it necessary, did you think, to wear the suit? Did you want to come out in just plain
Oh
clothes?
yeah, yeah. Uh, Yeah. Well, when I did the interview last time, I wasn't in the suit, but I was a couple things. I did want to be in it, but also stuck in it as well. I'm mostly stuck in it after a con. I have to have someone help me get out of that thing. I was stuck in it. Couldn't I was stuck until 1 a.m. in the morning, actually. Because I went to the bar, or the not the Marriott, the Lowe's, and there's a huge wedding there, and then it just saw Captain America, and it just began. It doesn't matter. So yeah, it does help me.
The nightlife at
And, I
Planet
feel
is
I feel like I
oh,
should have. I feel like I should have been up there since it was a cosplay contest to be up there in the suit. Also, that was my first time wearing that specific suit. I had an in-game one before, but this one was better, a much better version. And It's the first time wearing it, and random. I need I need to do a few things to fit that suit to me because it was kind of not fitting me correctly. But yeah, it kind of helps, but I don't feel like it helps me much that time. I got the list of questions before, and I was like, I kind of thought of things, and I was like, all right, as long as they don't bring up that question or that question, because they're kind of the same question. I, and then those were the two questions,
yeah.
well, there was three questions, and two of them were kind of the same, and I don't do good. I don't do well with the same question. What do you want to say about what message do you want to put out there? There was like a question that was pretty much the same thing. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I can only talk about I can I can talk about my experience and how a little bit, and what it did for me, and I assume that's related to everyone else. Like it changes you. It like allows you to be yourself. I should have said that. I had troubles. Like there was, I don't know how many people were in that room. It felt like 1,000, or that room was full.
It
And
was full. There were, I think it was
I was like,
1,200. I
I
think it
had
was
a
at least
I
1,200
had a
people. Yeah.
I had a out of body experience a little bit. I was like, oh, I'm here actually. Oh, jeez, I didn't realize I'm here. I just am, and I was like, Ming, yeah, I thought it was much faster than I thought it'd be,
It,
even though it wasn't.
it,
But
it's
I
it
didn't
takes
know what I said. I just mumbled. I'm like, yeah, it's good. It's whatever. I don't know. It's good. It allows you to be yourself, and everyone should do it. You get, you accumulate some amazing friends, and I don't know.
I
I
gotta,
didn't
like I
say
said,
very well. I was like, the documentary does it way better than that movie.
I got to give you kudos for that because it was great. And we're talking about it because you see it in the video when folks go to see the video. It's so awesome. It's so fun. You did a really good job carrying through for them because they shouldn't have asked you the same question twice. And I speak a lot.
Well,
I get in front of people quite often. And it is very difficult when somebody asks you the same question twice to try to either address it or rephrase it because you're trying to move to the next point that you think that we're going to talk about. And then here we are still talking about the same thing that I thought we just
I
covered.
should have asked for a different question since
Pass.
I just answered it. The But luckily Julian or Luna was in it, so I told him beforehand. It's like, if you see me struggling, take it away, which Julian or Luna
Luna.
did at one point. Um,
Did you did you know that you were going to be on stage beforehand, or did somebody
yeah,
spring you, or
no,
did you know
no,
that from the beginning?
yeah. I actually I brought that up. Strangely enough, I told him, like, I don't know why I'm bringing this up because I feel like it's something I wouldn't want to do, but I'm gonna try. I feel like I should probably be the voice of it, and I'll try to go up there and challenge myself.
Good for you.
I thought about, like, I've moments in time where I've thought about trying to do what are those things where you go speech classes, or like in front of people.
Mhm.
I tried it once, but then I was like, didn't do it. Didn't do it. I don't know what I could talk about. Um, I think I do a lot better now than before. Before I was trying to like learn how to pitch things business wise, because I can pitch some things, like I pitch those things. I feel like I do a pretty good job. But I know there's I want to I wanted to train myself in situations that bother me.
Mm. See, that's that. Then so that was why I wanted to talk about this just a little bit because that is true. You know, if when folks go and see the movie and they see for themselves a little bit about you and about the community and about your introversion, what a moment that really kind of is for you. And I don't want to build it up or more than it needs to be, but for you to put yourself with intention out in front of a challenging situation that you knew that it was going to be hard for you, that was going to be difficult, but you knew that you were going to grow from it, and it was something you wanted to do. To hear that you were the instigation of that is even more inspiring to me, because that is exactly how we move ourselves through life to get to the next things. You have to put yourself into a new situation, and almost all the time that new situation is something you're unfamiliar with, that you have nervousness or concerns about how you're going to perform or how it's going to turn out, because you are unknown and unaware of what the future could or can hold for you. And there are circumstances you don't have control over, and then you sometimes question the ones that you do. And always we have to put ourselves in that situation and just gain that experience to have the confidence to do it again. So right there is just another fine example of how I thought you were not the wrong individual to use to portray this message that you were telling of the community, that you in fact were the perfect person to tell this story.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Julian does a lot better. Julian is fantastic, or Luna. Every time I interview her, or him, to be honest, if he's in or out of costume, everything he says is magic. Like when is I loved interview his whole interview. Pretty much everything he said was amazing. And then I interviewed him again for the promo thing, and again I was like, jeez, fantastic. You did a great job as well.
Well, thank you. There's some folks that are good at it. And Luna, when Luna is on stage, I'm going to tell you what, you can't hardly not look away or look away. I mean,
fine.
Okay, so Nick, what's next for you? What's the next thing that you're going
to do? Oh yeah, okay. As terms of documentary, got nothing from there. I mean, maybe nothing that's okay. No, I don't have anything.
You don't have anything on the books?
I'm not gonna talk. Yeah, I shouldn't talk about anything that's like, I've had many projects I think about. I gotta think about something that I'm actually working on. Well, I have another little Halo video I'm working on, I scripted. Okay, so I'm working on a comedy that's pilot that is kind of like Clerks meets Empire Records, but a movie theater essentially. Just and it has a bunch of it's wrote by a comedian in Kansas City who does a lot of stand-up, and then also the people that are in it are comedians, so it's pretty funny. And
is this scripted or is it improv?
Both. It's scripted. It's scripted, but like, okay, so we had the pilot script, but we wanted to do a test to get a little bit of funding to make the pilot, because nothing is free in this world, to make things correct. But we just recently made like a 5-minute short film, a kind of a in the life of what's this humor gonna be like. It's kind of like these two guys work a theater, and like it's like indie theater, and they have to deal with these customers that are just annoying. Like everyone's dealt with customers or that are they're attendees, whatever, that are just
over the top.
Not great. Just all these different scenarios of based on real scenarios, and I'm working on that. I'm almost done with it, and then from there trying to fund a little pilot, and it's not gonna be like that much money, but
all right. So everybody can go ahead and check out Nick's work. You can check out his Instagram over at KC_cap, and we're going to put that in the comments and everything down below, so you can just go ahead and hit that link and check it out. But you can check out Nicholas Young's work all over the internet. He's going to put up a link tree on his Instagram, so you can get right at it. That's the Comic-Con video about the cosplayers. That's we're going to look for his Halo short that he had done before, and we're going to keep our eyes open for another Halo project, and maybe something to do with a movie theater and a comedy, right?
Yeah, comedy.
Absolutely.
That'll be fun. I enjoy it. After this, I'm actually probably going to finish that up, and then probably get outside, probably. Because it's
Get
nice,
outside.
right? It's nice.
There you, there you go. Well, the
Okay.
weather's good. Get some filming done
For now?
outside.
Oh, it's 85.
All right. Well,
Nice.
thanks for your time, Nick. I appreciate you coming on my show, and I appreciate all the work that you've done, and I appreciate truly your documentary that you made that really kind of highlights something that maybe a lot of folks hadn't seen before. I know that it connected to a lot of folks there at the convention. I'm sure that people that see it online will find a connection to it, and I know that the reason you created this movie was because it was about connections, and I know that folks will continue to connect to this movie long after this. Thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you so much.
I'm JohnE.Avocado with Purpose Your Passion podcast. And don't forget to get out there and dream, plan, and do. See you next time.
Artlist.io